5 things from Week 16. The Green Bay Packers defeat the Miami Dolphins. And I got to be honest, I didn't give them a snowball's chance in Miami to win this game. But I should have known I was going to have to eat those words when it actually started snowing in Miami before the game. (26-20), the Green Bay Packers improved to 7-8, defeating the Miami Dolphins, who have been sliding as of late. But the Green Bay Packers, they're going in the opposite direction because they're trending up. Okay, they've won 3 in a row, and their playoff hopes are looking pretty alive right now. I'm not gonna hold you. I didn't think they had an opportunity to win any of these games, and I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. But, they've proven me wrong for the past 3 weeks, and here they are, 2 weeks to go in the season. And if they win out and the Commanders lose one of these games, the Packers will be in the playoffs. But before we get to any of that, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get to these 5 things. Who, what, when, where, and why the Green Bay Packers won this week in Week 16 against the Miami Dolphins. And as always, we start things off with who stood out. And I'm going to go with 2 guys in particular on defense to start with. And that is Jarran Reed and Preston Smith. I think the 2 of these guys are kind of been some of the most understated, overlooked guys on this defense. But this game, this week, and really all throughout the year, especially for Preston, he's been really consistent. Jarran Reed, this was probably one of his better games. He had a tackle for a loss. He had 6 total tackles. He had a forced fumble, I think a fumble recovery. He had a couple of quarterback hits. He was just disruptive, and so was Preston. And I think a lot of that had, I think their ability to disrupt the passer and to set the edge and be physical up front in the running game really played a major role in derailing this Miami offense, which they've been up and down. Let's be honest, they've been up and down throughout the season, but they're really explosive offensively, and I was really impressed by their performance. My second standout, or should I say my third standout, is going to be on special teams, and I feel like you already know who it is, okay? Keyshawn Nixon, all right? He had 2 returns for 113 yards. Most of that came on his 93-yard kickoff return, which he was this close to scoring on, and I can't really sing this guy's praises enough, and it really, really just makes you wonder how in the hell he was able to just fly under the radar so long. They were sitting this guy on the bench for the first, 5, 6, 7 weeks of the season. I forget exactly when. He's leading the NFL in return yards, okay? That tells you everything you need to know. And he didn't even start the season, so pretty freaking incredible. All right, the next thing is what were some of my biggest takeaways, and I'm going to start at the top with Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to say this straight up. Aaron Rodgers isn't living up to that $50 million contract. Aaron Rodgers isn't living up to his full-time MVP status. Aaron Rodgers, to me, is sabotaging this team offensively because he refuses to take a step back and allow the running game to be the focal point. And he continues to try and force the ball to the Randall Cobbs of the world and the Lazards of the world and the Mercedes Lewises of the world. And yeah, credit to those guys because they make contributions. And yeah, big dog, he deserves a bone every now and then. And, I'm a Lazard fan, but Watson is the guy. He's instant offense. And this game, I'll give him credit. He did target him a fair amount of times, not more than Lazard though, and they still aren't quite on the same page consistently enough for me, and I want to just see him more involved in the game plan, not just on passes down the field. He had Watson wide open on 4th down or 3rd down or whatever it was, and he misses the dude for a touchdown. So Rodgers, to me, 63% of his passes, 1 touchdown, 2 turnovers, a fumble, and an interception. And really, he could have had 3 turnovers. So I'm just disappointed in Rodgers this year. And in my opinion, the guy has not lived up to the standard and the expectation of that lucrative contract extension. My other takeaway is the defense bailed him out. Because really, offensively, they did just enough to win. Okay, 2 touchdowns, 14 points. Rodgers only responsible for one of those touchdowns. And the rest was on the defense. The rest was on the special teams and this defense playing really well. Keyshawn Nixon, I can't say it enough. He is the MVP of this team this season. And lastly, I'll say, I think maybe we owe Joe Barry a little bit of an apology. Well, no, apology is too strong of a word. I'll just say we got to cut Joe Barry a little bit of slack. Okay? When Devontae Campbell is on the field, okay, and when Jair is locked in, okay, and they're setting the edge up front and playing physical in the trenches, and guys don't miss a bunch of fucking tackles. This defense is actually really, really, really good, borderline great. They could be elite, but that's my one problem with Joe Barry is that he's not really, to me, an elite defensive coordinator. He's a good defensive coordinator with some glaring issues, and instead of fitting his scheme to his players, he fits the players to his scheme, which to me is the mark of a defensive coordinator who isn't able to take a defense to the elite level. At best, they'll have some elite flashes. We haven't really seen that this year, but this game, they were really good. So I'll cut Joe some slack, and I'll say, he's not as bad as a lot of you guys think he is, okay? My next thing is, when was the turning point? And I'm going to say the turning point was when the Packers received the ball in the second half. They go down, they have a nice mix of run and pass and play action, and they're able to punch the ball in from the goal line with a A.J. Dillon touchdown run to tie the game at 20 and really get the momentum back in their favor. And on the next drive, they kick a couple field goals. Defense does their thing. And there we go. 26-20 Green Bay victory. But I think it all starts with that A.J. Dillon touchdown run out of the half. Where would I place this performance on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm going to give it a solid 7.6. Defense wins championships. They did a great job defensively. 4 turnovers. 3 of them came in the second half. No points in the second half. Offense, like I said, did just enough. I would like to see them run the ball a lot more. Only a 25 total carries on the day for 79 yards. That's not enough. That's inexcusable if you ask me. But say what you will. I know a lot of you are going to probably kind of complain about the defense giving up 310 yards of passing to Tua Tagovailoa, but I mean, really, when you break it down, 130 of those yards, give or take, about like 136, I think, or something like that, came on 2 plays. The Jalen Waddle 70-something yard touchdown, and Tyreek had like a 50-yard catch. I mean, that's pretty much it. The rest of the yards, they pretty much put the clamps on them. So I was tempted to go even higher than 7.6, maybe creep into the 8 range, but offensively, they leave a lot to be desired. A lot of meat left on that bone offensively, so they gotta really improve that, because otherwise, when you get to the playoffs, the other teams that are going to be if the Packers can get to the playoffs, and they might. I mean, I gave them like a really, really, I gave them basically no chance, even though anything can happen and all that kind of shit. Like, realistically thinking, I was like, they're not making the playoffs. They haven't really been consistent enough or good enough all year. And if they did, I feel like it wasn't going to really be, it's going to be like a one and done type of thing, because all the other teams in the NFC that are going to be in the playoffs, to me, are a lot more consistent than the Packers, and they're just better. So, and especially if Aaron Rodgers is playing like this. So, last but not least, why did the Packers ultimately win this game 26-20 to improve to 7-8 and keep their playoff hopes very well alive? And I'm going to just break it down like this. Defense wins championships. In this game, the defense played really, really good. Okay, not great, Not elite, but really, really good. Turnovers, like I said, and 0 points allowed in the second half. On that note of the defense playing really good and 0 turnovers in the second half, I feel like we got to cut Joe Barry some slack. And secondly, Barry makes really good halftime adjustments. For the most part, the defense has been a much better team coming out of the half than they have been before the half, and I feel like that Joe Barry deserves some credit for that. So I mean, great second half adjustments, and just all around good play from the defense, and Keyshawn Nixon, of course, doing his thing, man, and flipping the field, helping the Packers, becoming one of the most potent weapons in the NFL on special teams. So those are my ultimate reasons why the Packers won. Is really all about defense, man, and special teams there. Sprinkled in. I want to know what you think in the comments below. Who are some of your standouts? What are some of your biggest takeaways? Grade I want to see you grade the performance on a scale of 1 to 10. Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't done so yet, man, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bells. And then go over to twitch.tv/GDCHYLDTV. It's in the description below. And follow me there, man. Appreciate all the support and the love. Till the next show, go, Pack, go. And remember, the Bears still suck. Peace.